Perfect. First of all, how is everyone today? Good?
If you're not good, don't bring down the vibe.
Please behave. Alright, before we begin proper, let's just introduce ourselves. I am Nuno, Portuguese-based, performer, designer, organizer of conventions, and I'm here with these beautiful people that I won't introduce, but ask them to introduce themselves, starting from Grant, down there.
Hello, I'm Grant Howard. I am one-third of the founders of Roanoke and Deckard. I've written games like Spire and Heart and Jason Statham's Big Vacation, which is my proudest magnum opus today, a full 2 pages long. And I've always thought equipment was pretty much my favourite thing in games, as long as it's done well, and I hope to tell how it's done well throughout this panel.
Lovely. I am Helen Gould. I do various things for various people.
Wow. Something of an operator.
Worked with several different. I've worked for Sasha and for Grant, and not for you yet.
No.
We'll have to sort that out. I mostly write on other people's games, but I have done my own game now, which was interesting, and also I'm working on a new thing of like hot people that you can fight or fuck. Yeah. I called it Sharp Edges.
I will know, running a game, so Helen was in my Monday night game for about 2 years, and I had to put in NPCs that you could fight or fuck or move. Otherwise Helen would just completely disengage.
I remember, like, I just focused on having a null boyfriend for quite a while. Anyway, yes, sorry, that's my vibe. This is my vibe.
I'm Chris McDowell. I designed the games Mythic Ashenland and Into the Odd and Electric Ashenland. And yeah, equipment is basically all I really give for characters. So I'm very interested to steal some more ideas from these people today.
Hi, I'm Sasha Sienna. I'm a professional nerd, writer, games designer. I'm one half of MacGuffin & Company, who put out Odd Jobs and Pickroller. I also enjoy equipment, but these guys have taken all the interesting things to say about how they love equipment the most, so I like equipment as a friend.
It's nothing serious. Right, welcome to Grandma's second best sword. We're going to be talking about items, what we like, what we don't like, and how to make them better. I'll kick it off with asking you guys, okay, what is the best equipment you've ever seen in a role-playing game, and how or why did it add to the story?
Are you going to single people out?
I think whoever has an idea, go for it, and then if you talk too much, I won't pick you again.
I'll get it started. My favourite piece of equipment is from a Dark Heresy splat book called The Inquisitor's Handbook, which was clearly just stuff they wrote for Dark Heresy but couldn't fit in the core book, and so they printed it in softback. And one of the guns you can get in there is the Solus XVX interdiction device. And it's like what they're trying to do is describe a gun without describing a gun, because it's so high tech, and it's a thing which interdicts people over there somewhere. And the thing I really like about it is it illustrates the world that it's from and the sort of people who carry it. Rather than like, oh, it's an auto gun and it does D10 damage. The fact that it's this sort of like it's managed to take the idea of killing and sanitize it, or make it a technical or an interesting thing that you can do rather than a thing of war. And I thought that was really illustrative, and I really liked that.
My favourite bit of equipment's a bit out of left field, it's completely different to that. My favourite equipment was when a GM of mine gave me a baby. In the game. So the whole party, we had a baby, but it was like a famous baby.
I have questions.
So, I don't understand what's not clear about that.
No, famous baby, don't endorse that!
So we could use the baby to get access to places.
Like a key.
Well, yeah, like a key, like a business card, like a really high-intensity business card. And it was a very useful baby, but it also had upkeep, which I think is important, and it really set the agenda for who our group were and what we were doing, and it allowed us to explore the world, but it was fundamentally a famous baby baby that we use to get places. So a fancy set of lockpicks would probably have done the job as well.
If items that we have played with is in the running, the 50 gold's worth of marbles that I decided to get because I didn't understand how much gold that was. But I had a bag of holding, so I just put them all in there. And then near the crescendo of the game, I tipped out all the marbles down a staircase to stop the enemies getting up. And I'm really, really pleased with Chekhov's marbles.
I can see we've got at least one Paranoia fan somewhere at the back. I don't know where they've gone. But I've played Paranoia a few times recently, and there's lots of wacky items in Paranoia, but the one that really worked for getting the players in that frame of mind was everyone had like a pistol and some sort of grenade, but a lot of the lasers were fake, and a lot of the grenades were fake, and some of the lasers were actually, they had like 40 batteries, so they knew that they could explode. And so when you see you've got a fake laser, and then you realise someone else has a fake laser, it naturally makes you think, well, maybe all these lasers are fake. And there's a sweet spot where you have just enough real lasers and just enough fake lasers that it creates that kind of paranoia, for want of a better word, where the players don't quite trust each other and they don't really know what the other people are capable of. So just taking a normal item and twisting it like that, I think is pretty cool.
Perfect. Okay, this might sound like a simple question, but I think it's more nuanced. What make item good? Apart from being famous baby, I think we've all established. So let's ignore famous baby for now. What makes an item good, and like what differentiates between a good, engaging, interesting item and something that's like just plain boring, right? Where is the line, and how do you cross it to good?
You gotta want to use it, I guess.
It's got to provide a use.
Yeah, it has to. I feel like it has to be useful and also interesting to use. Like, it's one thing to okay, so I had an axe, and fine, I use axe to go bonk, but then I gave like one of the properties of the axe was that it sort of wailed with like the horrendous voices, and then suddenly, oh, great, and then I got to go, oh, every time. That's a great piece of equipment.
That's such a subtle change.
Yeah.
I think that kind of demonstrates one of the things that for me a great piece of equipment is one where there is an interesting choice involved in its use. So a trade-off is great, or something like Grant was talking about usage dice, so it's like a limited resource, just anything where you have to actually think about, am I going to use this?
Yeah.
And you really want to use it, but there's going to be some cost.
I think Numenera was really good for that. The way it had the sort of like magical gewgaws and fripperies, and it's like you get three one-shot magic items, and you can't carry more than that because of reason. And so you're encouraged to use them, burn them, find new ones, and just have these tricks that you can do to go through rather than having one thing which works all the time.
And I think for me, like you say, it's about having a choice. And the example I always think of is if you give someone, like to use like a D&D kind of context, if you give them like fire oil, they're probably going to use it to set a bunch of monsters or people on fire. But if you give, and it's still exciting to get an item like that, but if you give them like something like frictionless oil or like truth oil that makes people, so something where it's like, I'm excited to use this, but I don't yet know what that's going to look like. Like it's going to be, I'm excited to use it, and it's going to be exciting to find out how I use it, rather than just, oh, I'm going to set someone on fire later. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, I think equipment should also have an element of it is definitional about that character. There's a great article in Knock, and I can't remember who wrote it, so sorry, whoever it was, about how like really the only people who are having a magical sword should be like the fighter, because that is what a fighter does, things with a magical sword. And I feel like I love equipment that is telling you who the character is, but also allows them to interact with the mechanics in a specific way.
I try to do that with like, so in one of my games, Into the Yard, you start with a package of just a few items, and that's kind of all you get for your character. So I tried to pick items that did tell you, it suggested something about the character, but weren't like definitive. So you wouldn't get like, say, so one of the items that I always think of is you could have like handcuffs. And that could mean, oh, well, I've escaped from prison, or it could mean I've worked in a prison, or I'm like a bounty hunter. And it's up to the player to decide that. Whereas I always feel if you get them to make that decision, they'll be more invested decision, rather than just saying, oh, you're an escaped prisoner. It's like, well, you've got these handcuffs and a dagger and an eye patch. Like, what does this mean? Like, you explain that.
I play tested Into the Odd many years ago in America, and the random packaged equipment I was given was a bullwhip, a cigar, and an eye patch for my one eye. My other eye, I suppose.
Yeah.
And immediately, I know who this guy is. Identify me a tiger.
So I guess a follow-up to that point, Chris, is where is the line between being able to push a narrative for the character that's strong enough that the player gets hooked, but not too much that it doesn't force them into a hole, right? How do you go about designing that fine line?
I think it is that sweet spot of having things that don't quite make a complete set. Because if you read like a list of 3 items, then it's like obviously, oh well, this is the carpenter set. But if you've got like, oh, you've got like a saw and some poison and like a bow or something, it's like, well, it doesn't quite line up, but there's enough there for you to try and, it's to give you the spark of an idea without giving you like a pre-made, like ready to go background.
I think that's something like about role-playing games in general, in that if you give the players the entire story, there's nothing for them to do.
Yeah.
But there's the fruitful void, right? It's the idea that you get them to fill in the gaps, so you're giving them the first third of something, and then they can find out during play, or just in their imagination when they're sitting there, because I think most of us here probably think about role-playing games more than we play them. Or at least read them more than we play them. And so, like, the way I enjoy playing role-playing games is reading through characters and going, oh, what a clever ability. I should love to use that in a game someday. Oh, imagine if I met this enemy with this ability. Oh, good. And then like sully it with players or plots or dice or...
I think, so Sasha and I worked on a setting for Hollows, and a piece of equipment I made was, I think it was like a piece of like hard biscuit that you could eat to like regain some.
It was a ship theme.
Yeah, it was like shit. Yeah, it was like set in some docks, and you could eat it to regain some health. Or if you wanted, you could throw it and it would do a certain amount of damage. And so I wonder if partly it can be including options and suggestions in how a player might use it, like not necessarily saying this is sword, it is used for cutting, or like maybe this is a sharp object, you can use it for killing or for cooking or for opening letters.
I think like providing options in that way is really important, because if you have like, especially if you look at like a very brisk, very rules-light system, it'll be like this sword gives you a d6 whenever you use it. And like, oh cool, so I can get d6 to intimidation, I can get d6 to fighting, I can get d6 to levering open a door to use it like a crowbar. But it doesn't really do anything. It's just like, hey, use that sword in your descriptions, please. And it ends up a bit thin. At that point, you're justifying a reason to use the sword rather than having it flow naturally.
I like kind of going for the opposite direction of having something that is described quite specifically, but not actually saying how it's supposed to be used, and letting the player kind of have to creatively problem solve how it's going to be useful. So in Pickroller, we do focus on, we shamelessly ripped you off and have a list of equipment as part of the
I invented lists of equipment, yeah.
And like one of them is the mayor has an overly big fancy hat. And I love watching players try to find ways that overly big fancy hat can be useful. And I love causing problems with, like, you can't get your overly big hat through this doorway. Like, or whatever.
I'm trying to hide. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Or you can keep things in the overly large hat.
People try it. Yeah. Oh, is it big enough to use as a boat? I don't know. Do you also have the small dog equipment?
The small dog that sits on my head underneath the enormous hat.
True,
Controls.
The tiny little gold chain around his ear.
Mayor Ratatouille.
I guess that's it. Just like not every downside needs to be a downside. Right? It's up to your imagination to go from there. Okay, cool. I think we can move to the opposite side of the coin, which is what is boring about items that you try to fix, or how do you, when designing an item, look at it? This is boring. What do I need to change? What are like the core things that you would give advice to people here?
Mine's cheating slightly, but I have sometimes I've experimented with it. I sort of, for a while, I assumed that in in games like Into the Odd, where it's kind of assumed that you're going to be going on some kind of dungeon-based adventure, that you needed to give the characters a weapon of some sort, like everyone should have a weapon. And then I experimented with having a few like backgrounds where they just didn't have a weapon, and it actually works really well, because then they're like, well, I need something to, in case I get in a fight. And they will usually like either steal something or find something or find some way to like improvise a weapon, and then they've done the work for you, I guess, because they've invented their own cool weapon that they found. So sometimes it's like, it's not that I want to see fewer weapons in games, but if you can get some quite interesting decision space that comes out if you take that away from starting characters and say, yeah, you don't have a weapon, so go and work something out and see what kind of comes from that.
Presumably someone will have a weapon.
Yeah, someone in the world. And they probably don't deserve it. Yeah.
Well, it's a kind of niche protection at that point. It's like, oh, cool. While this guy's doing the fighting, I'm going to find something to do.
Yeah.
That's kind of any fight you can have where there's more than one thing going on is more interesting.
Yeah.
I think, as my friends know, I was surprised to be invited on this panel because I notoriously hate rules and mechanics.
I brought you in as kind of an antidote to me and Chris.
Oh, okay. So for me, I actually completely agree with you. Sorry, which is that giving the players control over what they have can be really useful, because often I don't GM a lot, but when I do, like, the players are way more interesting than I am. And so if you do say to someone, okay, so this is your character, this is what they do, what do you have? And in fact, what's that game where, I think it's Kids on Bikes, I think, where, like, the rule that the GM used for that with me was, if it is, feasible that you would have this in this situation, then fine. And I think that can be a useful way to do things as well, to offload some of it onto your players.
So, like, ESA Terrorists and the Gumshoe system in particular has a skill called preparedness. And so, rather than having a big list of equipment, it's like, oh, do I have a flashlight? Yeah, roll preparedness. And you can spend it to make it work, to make it guaranteed. It's like, yeah, I have a flashlight, but you gradually run out of stuff that you bought.
Yeah.
And like, you can't have, oh yeah, I bought my rocket launcher. Yeah, absolutely. But it's like sensible things which wasn't worth writing down.
Yeah.
I think for me the most boring type of equipment is just something that has just a plane, it's a mechanical benefit, and it is equally useful to everybody.
Like a healing potion.
Like a healing potion, or they're functional, they're useful, but they're dull.
Tax.
Unless there's one. And, it's super rare, and then you have to decide who gets it.
Don't drink all of it.
Don't drink all of it, or you get too strong, maybe.
That's cool. There you go.
Yeah. It sounds like it's like a boring piece of equipment is one that doesn't contribute to the story and which doesn't give any sort of creative direction or opportunity to anyone, maybe.
Or it can remove the decision space if it's too useful. So I'm guilty of this. In a previous version of Into the Odd, there was an item that I remember. It was like, I was really excited because the first time someone had done like a podcast playing one of my games. So I listened to it, and they were playing Into the Odd, and they had an item called a bone magnet, which is a big magnet that works on bones. And,
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
How do you carry it?
Well, it's
Sticks to you.
It's ever hanging off your arm.
I'm guessing it's got like a one end point.
Right.
You know how magnets work. You point the end of the thing.
Yeah, you just sweep the cats and stuff off it before you want to use it.
And it was so useful that like the game just turned into them like anyone they needed to like. They said, oh, can I use it to like snap someone's neck? and the GM was like, okay, fine, yeah, make it a save. And then because they'd used it once, every combat became this thing of just like snapping people. And
it becomes a bones arms race. You've got to have people with more bones or no bones.
Yeah.
Like ablative bones you can rip out without one.
Yeah. And it became like just the go-to. So at first it was like, oh, this is really cool, they love this item. But by the end, I think they felt bad using it because they were like, should we you just use the bone magnet.
Well, that was monstrous.
Yeah, and so I was able to tweak that in later editions, thankfully, and it's an item that's too good and almost too useful can just like remove all the decision space, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you like approached designing items somewhat differently since then, for example, from seeing that example of something?
Yeah, that one definitely scared me straight, and now I'm like, right, I need to actually design these with some thought rather than just a bone magnet would be cool. So I think I changed it that it only works on skulls. I think it's called a skull magnet now. So I've not learned my lesson that much, but there's some mention of it about breaking people's now. Having that experience was good because it definitely made me look through each item and think, is this going to be just the go-to version of it? Yeah.
One of the things I really like about the oddities and Into the Odd, that's your magic item
Yeah.
sort of thing. And they're all unique and they're all weird, but they manage to communicate. Like they have very specific use cases, and like a lot of the game of playing with the oddities and Into the Odd is convoluting a scenario where it's useful or finding a way to use it in an unusual way. And I like what that communicates about the society that made them. In that, like, they're not for you, they're not from you. Like, culturally, we don't need a skull magnet. No one's been like, oh, you're gonna pick up all these bloody skulls. But at some point in the past, there was a powerful wizard who was like, I don't like it when they're in their head. And I wonder if there's a way I could shut them off real clean. And like, there's a game system called Jags. Has anyone in this room heard of Jags? No? It stands for Just Another Game System, released about 20 years ago. And it didn't land. It was part of the sort of the bloat of indie games which arose, I'm going to say, like before the Forge, like around the OGL era. But Jags had a series of supplements, and my favourite one was Jags Have Nots. And the idea is it's a post-apocalyptic game where you are in the ruins of this hugely advanced civilization. And the way that the civilization is communicated is primarily through its equipment. And so my favourite magic item from that is called Forever's Kiss, I think. And it's a magic wand. And you point it at someone and you make a roll and it kills them.
Oh!
But then they never go off. And the longer the corpse is left there, the more beautiful and pristine it becomes. and it says, it was theorised this was a compliment. in Have society. And it's a weapon and it does the thing, but that's so weird. And you get to run around with it. And so I think seeing things shorn of their context is kind of exciting in that way. And you can sort of spy through the bushes, spy through the leaves, this huge society, and you get to brush up against the edge of it, which I quite like.
Kind of follow up. I think there's obviously different types of players, and we design for the players that we want to see playing our games, I think. But have you ever faced a situation where you designed a bunch of items and one turned out to be maybe mechanically advantageous or something, and you like, damn it, everyone's using this thing because they like the power of it and not using all the other beautiful things, more narrative, more cinematic items. Has that ever happened to any of you?
Well, there's the skull magnet.
There's a
But I guess you only get that from rolling, so I always feel like you can get away with it more when you've got like random character creation, because then it's like, well, I guess you won, I guess you win the lottery and you get this cool item, or if you roll badly and you get some item that seems really useless, because you've not chosen it. I always feel like people really want to put it to use then. Like, no, this is my useless item that lets me speak to dragonflies specifically and nothing else. And, I'm going to talk to a dragonfly and I'm going to make this useful. So I've just removed that choice from my players entirely, and that's worked okay.
Good solution.
I'm realising I'm actually probably quite stingy with my equipment.
Oh, God, yeah, me too, yeah.
I'm always like, if you want something nice, all right, it's stolen. Someone's coming for it. I like to bake in reasons why it might be taken away if it's too much. So I feel like actually probably the opposite. And now I need to go and give my players some things that they can use with impunity.
This isn't necessarily from TTRPGs, from computer games. I was listening to an interview with Todd Howard about Fallout 3. And the biggest weapon you can get in Fallout 3 is, I think it's called the Fat Boy, which launches a miniature nuclear warhead. And it insta-kills anything in the game. And it solves any problem. And there's about 4 shells for it in the whole game. And the reason, they put it in there, this is really powerful, should we take it out? And they realised that with that in the game, they could design whatever cockamamie bullshit they liked in encounters, because if it was too hard, you could nuke it. And you could only nuke it maybe 3 times once you had the thing. But by having that absolute power, but once, it gave you a liberating thing to go into. I think on the subject of like equipment that does too much, I think I'm quite like Sasha in that I'm really averse to giving mechanics which are perhaps more baked in the fiction. So like this draws skulls towards itself. And I'd much rather have like, oh, here's a fancy description, it does d6 damage, fuck off.
Yeah.
So like rather than, I think oh wait, no, I have done it. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I did a D20 modern game back when I was in university, and it was all about magic items. And I came up with these load of cool magic items that were slightly modern, slightly archaic, that gave you like these weird one-shot powers, weird powers which were very specific. It was called No Sanctuary. The deal was it was 5 linked rings which you put over your fingers, linked with chain. You put your hand against the wall, and it destroyed the wall. And I was like, oh cool, it destroys the wall. Like, okay, like, I'll put another wall in if there's a problem. You know, I'll put more guys behind the wall. The adventure after I gave it to them, I was like, there's a big circular tower, and I destroyed it. Just walked up to it, destroyed the circular tower, and that actually killed the game. I had to take a 10-minute break, so I don't know what to do. I can't do it. And then I came back to my cigarette, and I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Oh, bless you.
So yeah, but no, I have since reintroduced No Sanctuary into Royal Blood, a game with almost no mechanics.
Yeah.
So you can't break it.
One way to solve the problem, yeah. Amazing. Okay, so we talked about, for example, healing potion. Super overused, super basic, no flavor. We presented a solution here, which is maybe have fun, right? What other items are tired of seeing? And just like when it appears, you're like, ugh, not again. Healing potion, great suggestion. Do you have more?
I'm tired of seeing items where a GM has a particular problem, and then they give you an item that is designed to solve that problem. So they're giving you a baked-in solution. So.
What sort of thing?
So, for an example, all right, I was in a game where I'm still in the game where we need to build a camp or whatever, right? And we have a bag of sand that turns into any construction tool that you need. And it felt like this is actually not a very good example. It's the one I can think of.
It's like a hand waving thing, right?
Yeah, it's like, it feels like I really like open-ended problems and then open-ended solutions that don't necessarily match together. And I'm always bored if it's like, oh, I know how I'm supposed to use this. And then it's probably not going to be as useful after I've used it for this one thing. I don't like it when there's an answer to the question that the GM is asking.
Yeah.
And similarly, I don't like items that give you control over NPCs. I don't like I don't know, potions of persuasion or charm things. Mostly because, in my experience, there's a lot of assumptions sometimes that designers, particularly like in sort of traditional fantasy worlds, that they'll put in and be like, okay, so everyone knows how to use this, let's just shove that in there, and like the implications of it is not great, and I feel like it would be more interesting if you actually gave a consequence as well to it, like. And I think also something that means that you can overcome any kind of social barrier easily is boring to me, because I find that the role playing and the story with different characters is the most interesting thing. And so if you just meet someone and like the GM's like, oh yeah, they hate you, and you can just be like, no, they don't.
Follow up on that. Like with the healing potion, we found a solution which is like, okay, maybe there's one in the entire world, but that doesn't fix the potion of persuasion issue because it still does the same. What we think we can do to make it interesting, because it's like an archetypal fantasy thing, and if we really want to include it in our fantasy game, for example, what twist can we give it?
Time limited, has a chance to accidentally kill them, has a chance to make them obsessed with you, has a chance to make things uncomfortable. Like a consequence. Any consequence.
Well, like, how about like a potion that you have to drink and it just makes you more sort of like decent? Like it makes you take a bit of interest in sports or other hobbies. Like, and it helps you to listen to them. That's
like a small talk potion would be great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I think or making it incredibly specific.
Yeah.
And like okay, so it'll work on this one night. It works when the moon is full, and so and then at that point there is a cultural thing around that. Hey, listen, on the moon is full nights, if I can get a word for that. On nights of the full moon, it's like this works, and so one you're able to bake it back into. Oh, why is it moon based? Is it a werewolf potion? Is it witches? Is it what's the authority? And also like here's a specific place where it works, and we're expecting to have it here, and so we're kind of leaning into that rather than. I think one of the challenges with magic items, which I find quite frustrating, is the idea that every role-playing game, the fictional world, is this pristine space which has never been abused before, and then the players walk in and it's like, I'm going to invent the gun, or like I'm going to build the peasant rail cannon. I'm going to cheat it so I can make infinite iron bars. It's like there's a reason why people are doing this, and also the game's not about that. And so I think, it's disrespectful to the narrative. I think to sort of to turn up and go, "Well, I use charm person." Charm person's never used on players. I'm sure people have had it happen, but it's very rare. And I think it's much more that you let the players, you don't violate the space in the player's head because that really wigs them out.
I think actually. I was just going to say you've actually hit on something really interesting there, which is that magic being treated as a fix-it for every single problem is quite endemic, I think, and the magic systems and the magic uses that I find most interesting are the ones where there is a cost attached. So I'm thinking of not a game, but a very, very long series of books, but in Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings, the skill is a very powerful sort of telepathic magic, but it is addictive. And the wit is a magic for bonding with and speaking with animals, but is looked down on and seen as something dirty. So those are, that I find very interesting.
Yeah, I like it when there's a cost for something, especially magic. I think if it has a very high, powerful effect, it should also have a high cost. And I was going to say, for the specifically charm person thing in D&D, I quite like the way that Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode does it, where it wears off and then they are coming for you. Yeah. I want magic to feel like it's got weight.
Yeah.
And I don't want to understand it.
Yeah.
I want to, if I understand magic, it's science. And that's not sexy. It's not very exciting. I don't care for it.
Oh, the scientists are coming.
Yeah, I was going to say the scientists are disagree.
I don't want to play a game about it because you have to test it. You have to do graphs. You have to do it at least twice. And I'd much rather there was this guy the guy in a dress with a beard did it 200 years ago. So that's why it's weird.
A lot of things that are magic, to use the healing potion example again, we've all I perhaps have defaulted to thinking, well, healing potion, yes, that's the only way you can possibly recover from injury. And it's we have other ways. People in real history found other ways to deal with wounds and being injured and getting back into health. So it's looking at things where we kind of default to magic and thinking, well, can I just use a non-magical version? Because it might actually be more interesting and feel a bit more grounded in the world and a bit less like you're just drink this glowing thing and it's gone. And I think a really good one that I really like that for is, I know it's a cliche, but the +1 sword, the much maligned, most boring item ever. I think a lot of people have found really cool ways to handle those differently now. But one that I just really like, which is actually from a very early role-playing game called Maelstrom. It didn't really have +1, it didn't have magic as such. I can't remember. It's very grounded anyway in a sort of 16th century kind of setting. And rather than having +1, +2 swords, you can just buy better swords that are more expensive. And there's no downside to a better sword other than the fact that it costs more money. But it lets you have people in the world where then when you see someone and you're like, oh, they've got a sword that does 3d8 damage. you look at your sword that does d6 and you're like, whoa, this guy must be like a serious, this guy's a big deal, but they've got like a really expensive sword.
Made an investment.
Yeah, and like magic doesn't need to be involved. It tells you something about the setting, it tells you about those characters, and you still got the ability to have those cool items that feel powerful, but you're not like diluting magic by saying, oh yeah, it's a bit magical.
And like Beowulf has a magic sword, but that's just a really good sword.
Oh.
It's not got like witch tears in it or anything. It's just been made in a way which the other guy didn't know how to make swords. So it's like much like it's like masonry or the Horseman's Word. It's a secret society, and it's spun as magic, or it's spun as like an art or a wisdom, and it's the whole sufficiently advanced technology.
Like the idea of masterful equipment, right? It's just like crafted so well that it becomes legendary, basically. I think it's really nice because we went kind of full circle, taking the Potion of Persuasion again, Grant, your idea about maybe it works only in the full moon, right?
Yeah.
We're putting like a narrative spin to an item that would be otherwise boring, right? People are now interested in the story of like, ooh, like you said, is it witch-based, werewolf-based? I want to investigate this, or they get invested in the game because of that otherwise very boring item. I think we can move on to playing a little game with the audience. I think we can ask for boring items that you have examples of, and we make them cool. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Right, ideas of boring item. First, a mop. A mop. Folks, good luck.
Got it? Sci-fi? Automop. An automop? I will not explain. It has an on switch.
Sentient automop.
Yeah, and it hates it.
Yeah! The mop that hates to work.
Yeah.
Socialist mop. Communist mop.
An ex-military socialist mop. It used to be like a Star Cruiser. It defected from the Navy. It's had, as penance, it's had its sentience bound into a mop.
A mop that wants to start a union. All of your cleaning products now start a cleaning product union and go on strike.
However, it can only talk when it's turned upside down because it looks like hair.
Yes.
And then it goes back upside down, it's just a mop again.
Okay, after all, it seems like it's very easy. Thanks. One more example. Back there, near the camera.
A bed.
Okay. Bed. Any not household appliance or furniture.
Wait.
Okay.
Like a bed, I think with a bed, something like if you're going to sleep in the bed, then you have dreams which are prophetic dreams, but something in the dream is wrong. So you get a prophecy, but it's maybe a little bit off. So, you get a prophecy of your death, and it's all completely accurate, except that the person who kills you in this dream is not the person who's actually going to kill you. You don't know which bit of the dream is the wrong bit, but you know that one of the bits is wrong.
I feel like a fairy tale is the obvious way to go, and this feels very Grant coded, but like a Goldilocks bed where if you fall asleep in it, a bear will come for you. That seems like the obvious one.
It's just right.
I was thinking of like bed of unreliable awakening. Like you might lie down and sleep for 1 minute or maybe like 48 hours.
What you mean, like a bed? I don't know who said it. I think we got to the same gag at the same time.
Right, one more idea there. I think I saw you.
Your grandmother's used toenail clippings.
Clippings.
Things.
That's quite interesting.
I don't know that that's a dull item.
Yeah, I think that's actually.
Those are caltrops.
I know your grandmother. My grandma had dainty feet.
It's a cloning opportunity.
Yeah, I would say like it's like a Pokeball, but you throw it and like a random grandma comes out. You can like do a D100 grandma table.
You only get 10 uses of it. She only had 10 toes. 9 actually, because she got in that accident.
You throw them into the dirt and like myrmidons, 10 grandmothers rise to defend you.
Yeah, like the Gypsies of the Argonauts.
They don't rise to defend you, they rise to cook lunch.
Oh, that's nice. Wow, there's 10 of them. What a lunch they've put together. We should have done this the whole panel. This is
Does anyone have like actual equipment that's not an item, maybe? Okay, you kept your hand up.
The bag of holding.
Oh,
The purpose is to enable you to get more items, which is kind of dumb.
interesting. A bag of holding. finally they're thinking.
Okay, you can put anything you like into the bag of holding. It is there, and you can pull an item out at any time. And the more items you put in, they go into a random rolling table. You want an item, pull it in, roll roll your dice, right? Of all the things that you've put in, which one are you getting?
Communist, bag of holding. There is one bag. The state needs one bag, thanks very much. But it has many openings which are given out to communist countries. So you're sharing this infinite bag with everyone else.
The bag gives to each as they.
It's probably in the bag, mate.
Our items. Alright, maybe let's do one or two more. Okay, big hand up there.
Bus card.
What was that?
Bus card.
Bus card.
Bus.
Like a pass you can use to ride the bus.
Oh, okay.
Summon bus.
I thought you had a bus card like these are the numbers to call if you are arrested at a protest.
Oh, bus.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I like the idea of being able to summon a bus. But you point it at someone and it's like punk. Sorry.
Two.
Well, it's three gag, right? Yeah. Or a game beginning item if you're playing.
You've created the...
You summon the bus, but there's other people on the bus. And then, if it's a night bus, they're all belligerent and hostile.
I like the idea of a bus card which is very, very hard to read. And then like you get on the bus and then it's about like scruting it properly. And if you scrute it properly, the bus goes to where you want. So maybe that's kind of a fun. Yeah, it's not the correct use of the word. That's fair.
Scrutinise.
Like scrutinise or inscrutable. It's a scrut. What are you doing in there? I'm scruting. Close the door. Scruting my toes.
One more, maybe equipment again? Alright, big hand.
Just thinking like classic things in every adventurer's pack for D&D. 30 feet of rope.
30 feet of rope.
Elven hair rope.
What, that comes undone when it wants?
Nope. You just have to find the elves. It makes strong, beautiful rope. And there's a great great aftermarket in elven hairdressers where they resell the rope to make it. But it's much more of a commodity than it is in like Lord of the Rings. Oh, if I bought you a lock of my hair. No. We're using this to drag ships out to port. And I guess that's culturally difficult as well. So there's some things there. Are we talking hempen rope?
I'm just going I'm thinking like in the adventurers pack, like every single adventurers pack or explorers pack or whatever always contains like 30 feet of rope.
See, rope is already really cool because
I
it's
think
already
it's
like
already a really interesting item.
But
So-
you do use it for a lot of things.
So maybe pull it back and say like it's rope that if anything rope's overpowered, you should like bring it back in and be like rope that you can't knot.
Rope that is 31 feet lengths of rope.
Yeah. What are the players making?
I'm more just thinking like often with like those kinds of things, it's kind of almost beyond the abstraction layer. Like you're not necessarily going to have if everyone's got a pack like 30 feet of rope, it's kind of just assumed you could get that amount in. How do you make it kind of?
I think
like,
it's
again,
so don't assume that you can do that. Actually dig into what can 30 feet of rope do. Ask your players to justify where they can do something with 30 feet of rope. I think that's
30 feet
really
of rope.
pretty good.
And put it on the table.
Yeah. If you want to do something with this rope, you have to do it in real life. It's not
Yeah!
Climb my house!
Yeah, 30 feet of rope IRL. That's what it is.
Going back to paranoia, I actually had in my recent paranoia game that I played, I had an item because there's lots of weird R&D super science items in paranoia that the players have to like test out. And I came up with 5 interesting ones. That was the last one. I was like, I'm out of ideas, so I just put super string, and I said it looks like string. And then I sort of had in mind that if the player tries to do anything with this super string that just looks like a ball of string, I just roll a die, and if it's a 1, it goes really badly, and if it's a 6, it goes really well. Otherwise, it just behaves like string. And it was actually really cool because the players were like, I tried to use the string to like, they think, is it super strong? And it's like, no, it feels kind of like string. And eventually they did manage to get it to like explode. They were like, I want to light it, and then I rolled the 6, and it like went down into like a bomb and exploded. So yeah, super strings, super broke seems like the next sort of step up from that, where it's got kind of a nebulous mystery power.
All right, I think we're nearing the end of the panel. So if you have any parting words, any advice, for example, if these fine folks want to get out there and now make an item out there by the door.
Everyone, items in the corridor.
Final advice.
And your plug.
Oh, yeah.
And your plug.
I think my piece of advice is always ask yourself why a thing is there, and what you're trying to do with the game and also with the equipment you're putting in it. Because a lot of the issues that I come across in my sensitivity consultation work is that someone's just put something in just cause and haven't thought about the implications. Also, I have remembered a few of the people that I've worked for, so you can find me with Rusty Quill podcasting company. I was on a Pathfinder actual play with them for several years. I've worked for Roanoke and Deckard, I've worked for Black Armada, I've worked for McGuffin and Company, I've worked for Leyline Press, Pelgrane Press, also for Cthulhu Dark, and Graham Walmsley is down there with Cosmic Dark that I've also done a little thing for. Yeah, I just sent it to him this week.
So it's probably not in the book.
It's not in the book yet, but it will be, and it's about sensory mirrors.
Ooh.
It's a nice name for a girl, sensory mirrors.
Aww.
I think that you can always be more specific with equipment. And if it isn't specific and it isn't unique, that for me, I'm going to disagree with the rest of the group. I think 30-foot of rope is boring. But I think it's exciting to climb a mountain, and we can use it for that. But I think you can always be more specific, and you're welcome to have generic equipment, but like, tell me about your sword, tell me where it's from, tell me why you have a sword, and tell me what's unusual about the thing. So like, Vincent D. Baker has a really good rule, which is most X's are Y, this X is Z. So I think the example is most bodyguards are huge, this guy's tiny. And so it lets you set up something and then invert it immediately. I work for Roanoke and Deckard, you can buy our books from downstairs, please do that.
I guess my final tip is relating to expendable items. It's kind of it's become a bit of a problem that if I give you like one item that this is one use only, some players, especially if you're in a one-shot, will just use it straight away. And a lot of players, if they're in a longer campaign, they'll think, well, I need to save it for the perfect moment. So a little trick I like to do is say, yeah, it's expendable, but you know where to get another one, but it'll be like either in-game like a month away, or just abstract it as like the next session, so that they get to use it every session instead of feeling like they need to hold it back for the perfect moment. Yeah, you can find my stuff on bastionland.com, and my games are available from all rolled up downstairs today.
Grant's already said my be specific one, so mine is, have 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If you've got a really powerful item, it should have a cost. If something is a super powerful blow, well, it was stolen property and someone's coming for it now. And you can find me downstairs at I3-4, downstairs at McGuffin and Company, also on the internet. Same.
My final advice is do what they told you, I think. As for myself, I'm Nuno Teixeira. I'm from Portugal. You can find me online at NunoTXR, NUNOTXR, and I do stuff like live plays, actual plays, organize a convention very similar to Dragonmeet in Lisbon. So if you ever want to visit, do visit us. We're growing every year. We want to have an international zone as well. Apart from that, we're gonna thank the panel.
Excel!